Friends, we know that 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by just one thing, and that is water. However, 96.5% of this water is in the oceans, which, due to its saline nature, is not usable for most activities. The surprising fact here is that only 3% of the water on this planet is fresh, and of that, only 0.5% is available for use. Furthermore, a significant portion of this usable water comes from rivers. In other words, it wouldn't be incorrect to say that without rivers, human civilization might never have developed, which is probably why ancient cities were often situated along rivers, and even modern industrial cities are located near them. As human civilization progresses, so does the damage to nature, and rivers are also suffering as a result. On one hand, rivers are drying up due to climate change, and on the other, pollution levels in them are spiking. This is why the world has now started to focus on alternative sources of water, the biggest of which is ocean water. Although we cannot use this water directly because of its salinity, technology can be applied to convert saline water into fresh water, making its use possible. For now, the rest of the world still has sources like rivers and groundwater, but if you look at countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE in the Middle East, they have no major rivers, and the geography and climate of these countries do not allow for reliable alternative water sources. Saudi Arabia, one of the world's most water-scarce countries, meets its water needs by desalinating ocean water, which is an extremely expensive process. However, Saudi Arabia now wants to change this situation by planning a next-level project, creating the world's longest artificial river, which will have a total length of more than 12,000 kilometers, making it the largest source of drinkable water in the world. To give you an idea of the scale of this river, its length will be twice that of the current longest river in the world, the Nile. Today, in this video, we will take a detailed look at this ambitious project by Saudi Arabia and understand why the country needs such a project. Is it really possible to create such a massive river, or will this project turn out to be a financial blunder like Saudi Arabia's The Line project, which was started hastily but has been missing all its deadlines due to economic and technological challenges? So, without further delay, let's begin and first understand the reasons behind Saudi Arabia's desire to undertake this project. Friends, the longest artificial river that Saudi Arabia is attempting to construct is called the King Salman Water Conveyance Project, and it is estimated that the total cost of this project will be approximately $600 million. However, considering inflation, duration, and unforeseen market fluctuations, this project could cost Saudi Arabia around $700 to $800 million. Under this project, Saudi Arabia is planning to create a massive network of underground pipelines to make barren land fertile. To give you an idea of how large this underground pipeline network will be, if we connect all the pipelines end to end, they could circle the globe multiple times. These artificial rivers or pipeline systems will work on desalination techniques, through which Saudi Arabia will convert ocean water from the Red Sea into drinkable water to meet all its needs. However, desalinating ocean water is a cost-intensive process. In fact, one estimate suggests that desalinating 1 cubic meter of water costs $1, but Saudi Arabia can do it for just half a dollar because it gets the energy for these plants, both solar and fossil fuel energy, at very cheap rates. Despite executing the desalination process more cheaply than global standards, it won't be easy for Saudi Arabia to desalinate Red Sea water on such a massive scale. And this is because, according to estimates, this project will convert 99.4 million cubic meters of water into fresh water every day, meaning Saudi Arabia will need to spend an average of $4 to $5 million daily to make this water usable. So the question arises, why does Saudi Arabia want to execute such a cost-intensive plan? The answer lies in Saudi Arabia's location, a desert country in the Middle East with an arid climate that receives very little rainfall. Despite being a tropical country, Saudi Arabia registers extremely high temperatures, and the humidity is also quite low. Due to these conditions, large clouds do not form over Saudi Arabia, leading to low rainfall conditions. However, there is no single reason for the creation of these low rainfall conditions in Saudi Arabia. In reality, a subtropical high-pressure system forms over Saudi Arabia, which further intensifies the low rainfall conditions. The air is generally cold, while the air in Saudi Arabia is warm due to the high temperatures. Cloud and warm air integration is necessary for rain formation, but the subtropical high-pressure system acts as a barrier, preventing moisture-laden air from entering the region. Not only that, but the surface temperatures of the Arabian Sea and the North Indian Ocean are also relatively low, so moisture is not available for rainfall. Additionally, global warming and the El Niño phenomenon have completely changed the water pattern in this region, further reducing rainfall. All these reasons contribute to the low rainfall and dryness of Saudi Arabia. Furthermore, the few water sources available in Saudi Arabia also quickly evaporate due to high temperatures. Saudi Arabia has no permanent rivers or water bodies, and the groundwater is rapidly depleting. A report indicates that groundwater in central Saudi Arabia has been continuously decreasing for decades. A major reason for this is that Saudi Arabia extracts groundwater on a large scale for agriculture and uses almost 80% of its water for this purpose. However, due to overuse and climate change, these sources are drying up. To give you an idea of how severe the situation is, wheat production in Saudi Arabia was at a good level until 1990, but by 2016, wheat production had almost stopped due to water scarcity. Similarly, before the year 2000, there was no tax on water in Saudi Arabia, and water was provided to people free of cost. However, seeing the rapidly changing situation, the government has now started imposing charges on water. Currently, in Saudi Arabia, each person only has access to 89,500 liters of water per year, whereas the global average is 500,000 liters. However, despite these multiple challenges, Saudi Arabia manages its water resources so effectively that 97% of its population still has access to safe drinking water. Saudi Arabia primarily meets its water requirements from 4 sources. 1. Fossil groundwater. This water is reserved in deep aquifers due to past climatic and geological conditions. However, because this groundwater is non-renewable and cannot be recharged, Saudi Arabia has had to reduce its dependency on this source. 2. Conventional surface water sources. These include lakes and ponds, which are quite limited in Saudi Arabia. 3. Alluvial aquifers. These contain renewable groundwater that can be recharged through rainfall and surface runoff. 4. Ocean water. Yes, Saudi Arabia converts seawater into fresh water through desalination. Saudi Arabia has made significant investments in desalination technology and is currently the global leader in this field. In Saudi Arabia, 69% of water desalination is handled by a single entity, the Saline Water Conversion Corporation. This corporation operates many desalination plants and produces 1 billion cubic meters of safe drinking water annually. Apart from this entity, there are many companies and organizations in Saudi Arabia working to address water scarcity. For example, the Water and Electricity Regulatory Authority regulates the electricity, water desalination, and district cooling sectors. Additionally, the National Water Company, a joint stock company, provides water and wastewater treatment services. Despite these efforts, the growing population and increasing agricultural demands in Saudi Arabia have led to a rise in water demand, making it crucial to address this issue. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia faces another problem: water distribution. There is no proper network for water transportation in Saudi Arabia, and to solve this problem, Saudi Arabia wants to implement this artificial river project. So, how will this project work? What will this project do? First of all, desalination plants will be needed for this project, which will convert seawater into fresh water. These plants generally use 2 processes for desalination. 1. Distillation. In this process, seawater is simply boiled, causing the water to evaporate and convert into steam. The steam is then collected and condensed, separating the fresh water from the salt. However, this distillation process is not energy efficient because a lot of energy is required to boil the water. 2. Reverse osmosis. This process uses a semi-permeable membrane that is ultra-thin to separate water from the salt. This is a much more effective method because it uses less energy. After desalination, a large network of underground pipelines will be laid across Saudi Arabia. These pipelines will be 11 meters wide, 4 meters deep, and have a diameter of 2.25 meters. Once these underground pipelines are installed across the country, their total length will exceed 12,000 kilometers. For comparison, the length of the world's longest river, the Nile, is almost half of this. These pipelines will transport fresh water from the plants to people across the country, quenching Saudi Arabia's thirst. But is Saudi running such a massive project just to provide safe drinking water to people? No, according to experts, the impact of this project will also be felt in the rapidly emerging new sectors in Saudi Arabia after its completion. As we all know, Saudi Arabia wants to quickly transition its economy away from oil, and it is working on such initiatives for this reason. However, Saudi Arabia knows that if it wants to properly transform its economy, it will also need massive water sources in addition to energy. For example, if Saudi wants to develop a futuristic megacity in the middle of the desert, it will also need to meet the water requirements of the 30 million people and businesses that will settle there. From a social perspective, thousands of jobs will be created during the construction of this project, and a large workforce will be needed for its operation as well. This means that this project will create employment opportunities that will ultimately contribute to Saudi Arabia's economic development and support the local community. Additionally, this project will stimulate the growth of related industries such as construction, engineering, and water management. Once this project is implemented, a reliable source of fresh water will be developed, which will support agricultural development in Saudi Arabia. Increased water availability will allow farmers to expand their operations and reduce crop diversity. An estimate suggests that Saudi Arabia imports more than 100 billion Saudi riyals worth of food every year, which has a significant impact on its balance sheet. Similarly, in 2022, Saudi had to import $27 million worth of water. This project could not only help Saudi Arabia reduce its import bills, but also achieve self-sufficiency in various areas. Moreover, by increasing access to clean and reliable safe drinking water, it will improve the quality of life for Saudi Arabia's population. Additionally, by developing such technology, Saudi Arabia will emerge as a global leader in water management solutions. However, implementing this project won't be easy. The first challenge will be Saudi Arabia's harsh environmental conditions. The extreme desert environment will present numerous engineering challenges for constructing this artificial river. For example, the high temperatures will reduce labor productivity, and there is a risk of metal expansion due to the heat. The desert environment also poses the threat of shifting sands, and limited accessibility to remote areas will further complicate construction. Solutions will need to be developed to create a robust water transport system. The second challenge will be protecting the pipes from corrosion. Metal pipes will be used in this project, and they will be in constant contact with water. Given the corrosive nature of seawater and the materials used in the desalination process, it is essential to use advanced anti-corrosion materials in the project, which the government has already planned. The success of the project will depend on selecting the appropriate materials for these harsh conditions. The third challenge will be the length and scale of the project. No project of this kind, spanning 12,000 kilometers, has ever been built worldwide. Therefore, it is not wrong to say that no one has experience with such a project. Planning and execution must be done meticulously, because even a small mistake in construction could have significant consequences. For example, if the project's elevation or pressure management is not properly planned, it could disrupt water flow. Therefore, engineers must carefully consider factors like elevation changes, pressure management, and potential leaks in the extensive network. Similarly, desalination technology will also pose a significant hurdle, but Saudi Arabia has already mastered this technology and is a global pioneer in it. Saudi Arabia converts seawater into safe drinking water using reverse osmosis and multi-effect distillation processes. However, this process still consumes a lot of energy and has a significant environmental impact. Therefore, in the future, the technology will need to be improved to make it more energy efficient and to reduce its environmental impact. Additionally, a smart water management system will be incorporated to optimize water distribution through the artificial river. This system will monitor water quality, flow rates, and system integrity in real time, helping with preventive maintenance and effective resource allocation. Furthermore, by integrating the Internet of Things, the operational efficiency and reliability of the technology can be enhanced. However, ensuring the sustainability of this project will remain a major challenge. To improve sustainability, renewable energy sources like solar and wind energy will be used to operate the project. Besides the technical factors, the cost and timely execution of the project will also be significant challenges for Saudi Arabia. This is not the first time Saudi Arabia has worked on what seems like an impossible project. In the past, Saudi has introduced the world to next to impossible dreams, from flying cars to a megacity. But the reality is that almost all the projects currently run by Saudi Arabia are facing financial hardships, severely impacting development processes. This raises a significant question. Will Saudi Arabia be able to fulfill the financial needs of this project over the years? In conclusion, despite facing a water scarcity problem, Saudi Arabia's government has proactively taken a major step to solve it. The successful implementation of this project will set an example of innovation for solving problems, which could inspire other countries to follow in Saudi Arabia's footsteps to solve their water-related issues. Considering the global situation of freshwater, it won't be long before other countries will also need to resort to such solutions. For example, if you search on Google, you will find thousands of articles discussing the water problems in different cities. Even in India, many cities are on the verge of running out of groundwater, and many cities are on the brink of day zero. A prime example of this is the country's capital, Delhi, which has almost entirely extracted and exploited its groundwater. In such a scenario, perhaps by learning from this project, other countries, including India, can adopt innovative solutions to solve their water problems. But what do you think? Will Saudi Arabia really be able to execute such a massive project? Let us know your opinions in the comments section.